everyone, and welcome to the Kiki London YouTube channel. My name's Amanda, and in today's video we are going to be doing some encapsulated builder gel nails. So I really hope you all enjoy watching. Now, as I'm working on display tips, I'm jumping straight into applying my base coat. However, if you was working on the natural nails, you would do all of your prep first, so I will link a dedicated prep video in the description box below. Now, for my base coat, I'm going to be using the rubber coloured bases, and here you can see I have RB09 and RB05. I'm using two different colours because of the design that we're going to be doing, but mainly because I wanted to show you guys how using a rubber colour base underneath your Kiki London Easy Build Up Gel can alter the colour or the tone of your Easy Build Up Gel. So for example, on two of the nails, I'm going to be using RB05, which is this beautiful opaque, kind of like a rosy dusky pink shade, and I'm going to be using this underneath the Kiki London Easy Build Up Gel in neutral pink. So the neutral pink is a semi sheer, like a glass pink shade. It's a really pretty shade. I do absolutely love it on my eye on its own. However, if you use a rubber color base color underneath it, it changes the color ever so slightly, which is brilliant because there are several different rubber color base shades, so you can kind of play around to create the perfect pink builder gel. You'll see exactly what I mean when we get to that part of the video. And the same goes for the white nails. We've popped RB09 underneath Snow Glaze, so it's going to give off a little bit more of a milky white pigmentation to the Snow Glaze Builder Gel. So talking of builder gels, here's the three that I'm going to be using in today's video. So we have Crystal Clear, Snow Glaze, and the Neutral Pink. On the white nails, I'm going to start off by using Snow Glaze. So what I'm going to start off with is, because we're going to be doing some encapsulated nail art, I want to actually start off with a builder gel base. So you've got your base coat down, but I want to do a thin gel layer underneath, so that if you was going to do a redesign, so if you was doing this set of nails on a client, you would be able to file back to this base layer of builder gel. So what I'm going to do is just pop a thin layer down of the Snow Glaze on both of those nails. I'm not building up any strength or thickness with this. It is literally a base layer of the gel. And then once I've applied that to both of the nails, we're going to pop these in to cure for 60 seconds. This just gives us a nice thin gel layer to work on top of. If you have sculpted your nails rather than working on the natural nail or working on tips, then you might want to skip this step because you've already got a builder gel base layer down. And then I'm going to take the Kiki London Blooming Gel and I'm going to apply a thin layer of this to the entire nail. Then I'm going to take the beautiful blue Serenity and pop just a small amount of this down on my palette. And then I'm going to take the Kiki London Round Nail Art Brush and we're going to use this just to apply a small amount of that blue Serenity to the Blooming Gel. And what I'm doing this for is because I know the design that I have in mind. I want to add some shell pieces and some gold leaf, but I want there to be a bit of a coloured background to them. But I do want everything in this design to look quite soft and quite layered. So what I'm doing is, by applying the Blooming Gel and then popping down a little bit of that colour, it's going to give a really nice soft background for those shell pieces. So I'm doing the same again on the second nail, except for I've just done the blue in a different place, because on one nail I want the shell pieces in the center of the nail, and on the other one I want them up in one of the corners. So I allowed these a few moments to bloom, and these are the shell pieces that I was talking about. Now, whilst that Blooming Gel and blue Serenity are still wet, so I haven't popped these into cure yet, I'm going to pick up my shell pieces and set them down into the gel. Now, I don't want them to bloom too much because I don't want this blue to overtake the nail. I'm mainly wanting them to bloom just so that there's the softer edges to the blue Serenity. Like I said, I want everything to have that soft, whimsical vibe to it. So I just want the edges to bloom out a little bit. Then I'm going to place those shell pieces down. I'm just using my dotting and gem tool for this. So I'm just picking the shell pieces up with the waxy end of that tool and placing them down into that uncured gel polish. And then what I'll do is pop these two nails into cure. And as that cures the gel polish, it will hold these shell pieces in place. So I've picked up a larger shell piece, so that's going to be the predominant part of the nail design. But then I have picked up some of the smaller pieces to come around the edges just to soften the whole look and so it doesn't look so random. And then like I said, once we've got those in place, we're going to pop this in to cure for 30 seconds. So this is what our design is looking like so far. Then I'm going to switch back to my snow glaze. And what I'm basically going to do is carry on building up that nail, but I'm not going to go over that larger shell piece. So I'm coming in like I normally would with a slip layer, and I've gone all over the nail apart from over that larger shell piece. Then I'm taking a larger ball of the snow glaze, and I'm building up the nail just a little bit. I do still need to encapsulate that larger shell piece, so I'm bearing in mind that I want this layer to be a medium thickness because we are still going to come over with the clear. But I want the blue Serenity underneath and some of those smaller shell pieces to look kind of sunken and hidden into that snow glaze, because this is what gives off that layered effect. So as you see, I've come around the edges there, and you can see it's really softened that blue Serenity a lot more. I'm going to do exactly the same on this now as well. So coming in with a slip layer first of all, this just allows your builder ball of gel to flow around the nail a lot easier. So we place that slip layer down because then this helps guide that larger ball of gel into place. When I say larger ball of gel, it's really not a big ball of gel. On this nail especially, I don't want to build up too much around that cuticle area because I don't want to end up with a thick, bulky cuticle area. So I'm predominantly bringing that snow glaze over the tip of the nail, so we get the opaqueness of the colour and a little bit of strength starting to build up as well. So this is what those two nails look like. Then into the tacky inhibition layer that's left from the easy build up gel, I'm going to place down some gold leaf. So what I'm doing is I'm picking this up with just my tweezers, and then I'm pressing it down into place using the dotting tool end of that tool there, just to make sure it's pressed down firmly. Obviously we are going to come in and encapsulate these pieces in, but because the easy build up gel has quite a strong inhibition layer, it sticks pieces like this down really nicely, so it saves you having to add on an extra layer of gel. So I'm going to do the same on this one. I just want to come around the edges of those shell pieces just to add in a little bit of gold. I really loved how the milky white and the blue and the gold worked. It felt as though it gave off a really nice, soft, dreamy, like I said, whimsical vibe, which was what I really wanted to go for this set. So this is what those two nails are looking like. Then I'm going to come back in with a really thin layer of the RB09 again, and I'm just mainly using this for nail art purposes. I'm just brushing a little bit of it over that gold leaf here and there, so that again it gives off that layered effect. So you've got one layer underneath where you've got some of the smaller shell pieces and the blue Serenity, and then just add in the gold leaf over the top of that, and then a little bit of the RB09. It really helps create different dimensions to the nail. So I've only used a really small amount, and then taking my round nail art brush, I've actually wiped it off in places so that parts of the gold leaf look hidden and parts of it look as though they're more on the surface of the nail. Then we are going to cure that, and I really love the effect that this created. Then I'm going to come in and encapsulate. So I'm taking the Kiki London Crystal Clear to encapsulate. And I absolutely love the clarity of crystal clear. It does exactly what it says on the bottle and gives you a crystal clear finish. So starting off, I've done my slip layer. So your slip layer is a thin layer of gel that you get over the entire surface of the nail. This is where you want to make sure that you're being really careful that you don't touch the cuticle or the sidewalls, because the slip layer guides your thicker ball of gel or your larger ball of gel into place. Then with my larger ball of gel, I'm just working this over the nail, but I'm not actually pushing this up into the cuticle area too much. I'm mainly focusing this over that larger shell piece because that's the only part of the design that still needs to be fully encapsulated. It has obviously been built up around it, so it just does need a thin layer. But with your crystal clear encapsulation layer, this is where you would make sure that you're building up your apex and the thickness and structure of the entire nail. So how thick this is going to depend on the length of nails that you're working on and how much you've encapsulated with your previous layers, but it really doesn't need to be too thick. So I did do exactly the same on the other nail, so we're going to pop those aside and work on the two pink nails as well. So this is where you really will see, if you're used to working with neutral pink, that having the coloured rubber base underneath does change the colour of it slightly. It gives it a lot more of an opaque finish, but it just changes the tone a little bit. And I really, really love this because it makes one color very versatile. I definitely want to try this over a few more of the rubber color bases, and maybe I'll try and do a swatch comparison so you can see the different rubber color bases underneath, say neutral pink and the other shades of Easy Build Up Gel. This way you can just kind of find a combination if you're looking for a specific nude. So I did a thin base layer on both of those pink nails with the neutral pink, same as what we did on the white nails, just so we've got a gel base down. And then on these two nails, I want to do some marbles that are encapsulated in the neutral pink, again, because it gives off that really whimsical, dreamy vibe. So I've come in with a layer of my blooming gel, and whilst that blooming gel is still wet, taking my round nail art brush, I'm just dotting on blue Serenity and coconut, and then I'm going to take my dotting tool and just swirl these colours into one another. Kind of creates a bit of a wave effect. And then I'm going to allow the blooming gel to do its job and allow that marble to bloom. So I'm going to pop that now aside. I'm not popping it into cure just yet. We're going to leave that to bloom whilst we work on the next nail. Now, when you are applying your blooming gel, you do only need to apply a thin layer of this. And this is something that you need to bear in mind when you're doing any kind of layered nail art. You want to keep each layer fairly thin because you are going to have to encapsulate. So if you keep your layers on the more thin to medium side, then you won't end up with a too thick or bulky nail when it does come to encapsulating. So we've done the same again on this nail, except for on one nail I've gone up the right hand side of the cuticle, and then on the other nail we've gone down the left hand side of the tip. I really like doing this when I'm doing quite a simple nail design because it frames those middle nails that are in the set, so it looks really, really pretty when you are wearing the design. Once we were happy with how much they had bloomed, I popped them into cure for 30 seconds. And then I want to add in a little bit of that gold leaf that we used on the previous nails just to tie the entire design together. Now, gold leaf can be quite finicky and it can be a little bit tricky to work with, but I found more of an easier way. So what I like to do now is just take my small pieces or more medium-sized pieces and place them down on the nail. And then I'll take the waxy end of my dotting tool, and if you rub over them, it disperses them and gives you those more smaller shards. It can be really, really tricky to apply teeny tiny pieces of gold leaf. So it actually works out a little bit easier doing it this way. If you just apply them a little bit larger and then take the waxy end of the dotting tool and just kind of rub into them, and then the pieces will just disperse and give you those more smaller scattered effect. As you can see here, I really love how it runs through the marble. And then because I want to keep with that hidden look, rather than coming in and encapsulating with crystal clear, we're going to come in with another layer of the neutral pink. This is going to make that nail bed pop a little bit more and give off more of that pink tone, but it's also going to soften the look of the marble and the gold leaf and just make it look as though it's hidden underneath the layer of pink. And I really, really love this effect. Just a thin layer is enough to give off that effect without having to worry about creating a too bulky nail, because I do still need to build up the thickness and the strength of this nail. But if I'd have built up the thickness and the strength with the neutral pink, it might have covered up the marble and the gold leaf a little bit too much. So again, this is going to depend on the length of nails you're working on. If you was working on quite short nails, this layer would probably be enough to fully build up the nail. But because we're working on quite longer nails, I want to come in with a thin encapsulation layer of the crystal clear. So like I said before, whenever I'm doing any kind of encapsulating or building, I'll do my slip layer first of all, and then my builder gel layer. And I'm mainly focusing this in the apex and down the center of the nail. The Easy Build Up gels do self-level very, very easily, but I do like to just flip them over for a few seconds just to help gravity do its thing. This is what the nails look like once I'd encapsulated the other one. So we're now ready to come in and file. So before filing, you want to wipe off the tacky inhibition layer from the Easy Build Up gel with a alcohol wipe. And then I'm going to be filing with the 100 grit file today. Now, I usually always say that I like to file my Easy Build Up gel with a 180 grit file because I find that sufficient enough. However, I am loving the new 100 rectangular files for shaping. They give you such an amazing, crisp, sharp shape. So I use my 100 100 grit file today, but I'm being very, very gentle with it. So as you see there, I come round and shaped the nail just ever so slightly, and then I'm very gently going over the surface of the nail. This has been sped up, so it looks as though I'm being a little bit more vigorous than what I am, but you just need a few swipes of your file over the surface of the nail, and this will get out any unevenness. And then I like to come back in and shape the edge of the free edge again, just to make sure it's nice and sharp and I'm happy with the shape. And then because we've used a 100 grit file, I will also come over the nail with the buffer, just taking the 180 grit side just to get out any harsh scratches that the file might have left behind. So again, I've done that on the remaining 3 nails, and then we're ready to come in and clean up. So I'm going to take my dusty brush and give a really good dust of the nails just to make sure we remove any of that dust. And then to be extra cautious, I'm also going to come over the nails with an alcohol wipe just to make sure we have fully removed all of the dust. You don't want to have any dust on the surface of the nails when you come in and top coat, as it will just end up cured in your top coat and will ruin the finished look. So in my opinion, it's always best to be very thorough. Make sure you dust off all of that dust and then wipe over with an alcohol wipe just to make sure you have fully cleansed the surface of the nails. And then for today's top coat, I went for the no wipe top coat, and I love this step when you've done a builder gel encapsulated set of nails and you've filed and everything looks really dull and matte, and then you come in and you add your glossy top coat and it brings everything to life and the whole design just comes back together. So I'm just going to apply a thin layer of this to all of the nails, and then we're going to pop that in to cure for 30 seconds. And this, guys, is the finished result. So I absolutely loved how these turned out. I think they look very simple but very, very elegant as well, and it's definitely a design I would wear myself. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you did enjoy today's video, please do give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you all so much for watching. Lots of love. Take care. Bye bye.